All right, could you please introduce yourself and your organization?
I'm Brendan Wilson. I'm Food Export Midwest and Food Export Northeast CEO. And Food Export is a nonprofit or NGO that works to help small and medium-sized food and agricultural producers in the U.S. connect to markets overseas. We do that by educating American businesses on how to succeed overseas. We connect them with the right buyers and retailers and importers, and then we provide marketing support for them through a branded program.
And in which area in which region specifically outside the U.S.?
Well, I'm happy to say that Food Export is entirely global. We have 30 different offices all over the world with in-market representation who roll to bed every morning and think, how can we get more U.S. products here? How can we better educate U.S. businesses about the way the markets work here and provide support for them? We work in a lot of the U.S.'s major trading partners like Canada, Mexico, the EU, and China. But truthfully, over the past several years, we've seen how important regions like the Gulf, Africa, South Asia, Latin America have been for the U.S. economy. And it's really important that U.S. businesses recognize that 98% of their potential customers live outside of the U.S.
Can you tell us more about the process of onboarding and businesses interested? How do you do
Yeah.
that?
Well, we first want to help you understand what markets are going to be important and have potential for you. So we'll look at trade data from all over the world. We'll help you refine your product and understand its category in a way that makes sense internationally. It can be as simple as a potato chip company not understanding that they're crisp in other parts of the world. And once we do that, we can see where these products are going. And if you come to the market, which we encourage you to do, the firsthand experience is irreplaceable. You will see how products like yours are being positioned and help you differentiate it. You might be surprised that an American business that thinks they have a gourmet product at home is actually a budget product in a place like Dubai. And marketing can fix that. And very often a budget product in the US, if marketed correctly, can command a premium price based on what makes it different. So we help companies go all the way from having the kind of questions like where should I be thinking and going to understanding how they might price and position their products in a foreign market.
What's the importance of exporting American products to the world?
It's never been more important. The US obviously has a really large food retail and food service economy. If you just took the food service economy of the United States, it would be one of the largest economies in the world. It's over $1 trillion. And that's why US businesses aren't really biased towards exporting, is there's such a large addressable market back home. But we see that trends change. We see that your product might have a life cycle in the United States that can be extended by going to a different market. And from an investment standpoint, a valuation standpoint, your company is more valuable when you have diverse revenue streams, and you're really only going to get that by thinking outside of your state, outside of your region, outside of your country. And products that you develop internationally might turn out to be bestsellers back home. If you've got a seafood product that you've been selling sort of like a commodity in Europe, well, the Europeans have a penchant for tinned seafood. That's catching on in the US too. So we see that companies become more diverse, more resilient in their portfolios and their revenue stream. And from a risk management standpoint, having those relationships and those connections, they help stem the tide when the business environment changes in the US.
What are some of the hurdles that businesses face and how can Food Export actually help you?
A lot of businesses first don't understand how sophisticated retail markets are across the world. A hypermarket that you see in Dubai or a mid-range grocery in Bogota, Colombia, they have strong merchandising. The world isn't just a bunch of wet markets. There are really sophisticated retail environments. So we will bring you here and walk you through exactly what that means so that you can think about your labeling differently, so that you can think about your pricing differently. It's so important to differentiate your product and to understand that consumers are constantly changing, but that's a marketing opportunity. And we don't just ask you to do that by yourself. We will actually reimburse you for 50% of your marketing expenses, as long as it's international, all the way up to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. We can update your label. We can help you exhibit at shows. We can help you plan your trips and put on digital and in-store campaigns. That's the power of the branded program at Food Export, is providing financing. It's just transformative for companies that really embrace the marketing opportunities in food.
How many companies have you brought into Gulfood this year, and what was the selection criteria?
Well, it's important that as a U.S. taxpayer-funded organization, we will help any American business that is eligible, which means it needs to have connections to American agriculture because we're funded by the U.S. Department of Ag's Foreign Service. So your product needs to have 50% of its weight come of U.S. origin agricultural content. And if you meet that threshold, we will get you here. We have dozens here at Gulfood. And the U.S. presence here is a record-breaking 200 plus. That's the largest they've ever had at Gulfood. And I think that's reflective of this region becoming more and more important and people understanding that Dubai is an axis on which much of the world's population turns. So missing out here is missing out on much more than just the UAE or even just the Gulf. I think it's really important that American companies understand that being innovative and having a distinct value proposition is really important because they're competitive retail environments here. So think about what that is that makes your product gourmet, what makes it specialty, and you'll find a home somewhere.
Just two more questions. Is there a specific part of the GCC, that the countries are in the GCC, that you highly recommend to American companies, or kind of like when you look at the GCC?
I think both Saudi Arabia and Kuwait are often overlooked. They're import dependent on a lot of food items, have growing economies, and really strong structures in place to bring product in. These are buyers that are hungry for innovative products, consumers that are willing to try new things. And we've seen that the trade in Kuwait, the trade in a place like Saudi Arabia is often overlooked. But an economy in a place like Saudi Arabia, and the fact that there's a consolidated customs regime and consolidated market here, that's a really fantastic opportunity. There are companies like Lulu's or Carrefour's that if you're in one store in Kuwait, you can be in that store in Dubai and be in that store in Saudi Arabia. And these countries are much more international than I think people give them credit for. And their palates and their expectations around entertainment mean that there are going to be opportunities to bring in flavors from all over the world.
Do you support companies from here who used to go to the US?
Not directly, but a critical part of this process for us isn't just developing relationships with exporters, it's developing relationships with importers because those are the decision makers. So we have programs that sponsor buyers from places like Saudi Arabia and all over the Gulf to come to the US and check out our stores, meet our companies, and they return to the Gulf with a better idea of our merchandising tactics, a better idea of what's selling and trending there, and seeing firsthand the quality of the products. So in an indirect way, we spend a lot of time supporting and sponsoring the industry here because we know that they're the purchasers. And ultimately, the place we want to get to is an exporter making a sale, and that takes two to tango. Can I do one little spiel on Food Show Plus?
Yeah.
So when we come to a show, we have a program called Food Show Plus. And that's because these shows are really big investments for small companies, and we help them maximize that. Don't just come and put your products out on a table and exhibit here. Come prepared. Come with translated materials. Come with a plan of who you want to meet and who you want to follow up with. And put some structure around your appointments. Food Show Plus companies have a virtual consultation with our representation here, so they're more prepared. They go on a retail tour so they can see how dynamic the environment is here. And after all it's said and done, you're going to have your people that walk up to your booth and drop a business card off. We will sit down with you and help you qualify and prioritize those leads. Because at the end of the day, making a return on this investment is what's the most important, and that happens in that follow-up phase. Gulfood is a fantastic opportunity for the folks that come here, and we want them to make the most of it. And that's why the Food Show Plus program exists.